Biddly, 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 boat. Yes, yes, yo. Here we go. And there ain't nobody down around here. You know what time it is, bro. Get that badger in and on and over here. We had to move back to get his greatness in. For anybody that thought you were on ×1 or ×2 speed there, you are not. We're still moving quickly, though, because we don't fuck around here, do we? No, we do not. If you don't know by now, you never knew. Keep liking and subscribing to the channel, guys. It really does help. Yeah. It'd be much appreciated if you can just leave us a cozy on up to that like button and leave us a comment, hype the video, do what you've got to do. Let's get this out and about. We're nearly at bonfire night, boys. Bonfire night, there's something novel about it, isn't there, tomorrow? Remember the 5th of November, I will be in Woking for that, which is a place where I've never been before, I don't believe. Quick shit vid. 25 years ago, man. It's 25 years ago that Viduka scored 4 goals against Liverpool. Which is a absolute madness to me. What you do now for a Viduka type up top now, it's actually, I was going to go through the article today with you boys, but it's too detailed, it's too long, and I don't think you've got the attention span for it. I certainly didn't have, but it's definitely worth a read if you can be asked. It is a good article. It's interesting. He talks about some struggles. He's had a fair few ups and downs, really. I think, to be fair to him, he's on about coming over from Australia now, like European players or Brazilian players would sort of get a pass if they don't quite hit the ground running, and that, an Australian doesn't, like my man Big Ange, Big Ange seems to get everything that no Australians ever had. But yeah, I do sort of agree with that. He said he had to do a lot more as a youngster, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that can shape you as a player, just in general, when you're under a little bit of hardship and you have to constantly prove yourself. He got labelled a lot for his work rate, didn't he? He got stick for being lazy and big and, but everybody that's played against him, it's a mad world, really. Everybody that played against him, like Carragher's and Neville's, they all mention him, if it comes up. It was really difficult to play against. Proper strong bloke, one and wonderful touch and some brilliant finishes. He actually discusses the chipped goal against Liverpool, which, he doesn't mention the fact that one of them were offside of the 4. And had it been in VAR days, we'd have never got that day, which is a madness to think. But it were on about, like, as a younger man, he'd have probably put his laces through it and smashed it and either skied it or it goes in. And you just sort of think, well, I wasn't actually fully confident with that. But as he grew a bit older, you realise you've got more time up ball and you can be a bit more exquisite with things. He doesn't say exquisite, but I thought I'd use the word exquisite. And to be honest, that would be advice I would give to any young man playing football, to be honest, at any age. I think as you get older playing football, or when you play more and more six-a-side, you start to realise you always think the opposing players coming to get the ball off you. You always think, no, they're just coming to get the ball off you because everybody wants the ball, don't they? But you've got so much more time to actually, time needs to slow down and you need to really be in your mind and just chill out and just go, this ball is mine at the moment. If he takes it off me, but I've got more time than I think. Everybody's always in a rush, aren't they? And random point, but he now runs a coffee shop in North Zagreb, which is in Croatia, you ignorant bastards. It's not in Australia, it's in Croatia. So stop being so ignorant. My man Fucker's getting blamed for Calvert Lewin'S lack of goals. He's getting blamed amongst absolutely everything else that he's getting blamed for. But then equally, that the article also suggests that we don't play enough long balls up to my man Calvert Lewin, which I don't think is true whatsoever. And also, I think we're pumping ball up to him enough in terms of hold up play, but that's certainly not going to get him any goals. Pumping up to him, we're doing it enough. He's winning headers, much to people's dismay. He does win the duels. I do agree, however, though, that the only player on the pitch that will sort of look to actually deliver the ball first time or from a wide, high position, we might get to the byline and look to cut it back or chip it in, but the only person that'll do it from a wide and slightly deeper position, which is where he wants it from, really, a decent whipped in ball, is Bogle. And then unironically, that's obviously where his goal came from. Okafor, who is easily our biggest threat out wide, he does want to beat his man, get to byline, look for a cutback or a bit of a dink, a bit of a chip to back door or whatever, and he might get a couple of tap-ins, Calvert Lewin through that way. Aronson, very much the same. He doesn't deliver a ball, does he? He's more, much to everybody's dismay, a bit more through ball type of player, and he'll play 10-yard, 8-yard pass. It's always forward. He's always quite narrow. He doesn't want to just deliver it from deep areas. Again, if he gets to byline, similar to Dan James, he doesn't really want to whip it in, I wouldn't say. He might if he cuts back onto his left, he sort of hangs them up a little bit, doesn't he? But that has not worked thus far in the Prem. The way he sort of delivers them balls with his left foot and not going to work at the top level. I don't think he got away with it a few times last year in Championship where he cuts onto his left and then it's just sort of like a bit of a dink, really, just putting it in a decent area. So that's not going to really garner him many goals. Nonto very much the same. He wants to drive with ball, doesn't he? Gets at byline. Now there's getting to byline and whipping a ball in, and there's playing a ball from deep and whipping a ball in, and then there's cutbacks and dinks and chips and stuff from the byline, which is what everybody else does. And then there's Harrison, who delivers the ball every time he gets it. I'm not convinced that his partnership with Goodmanson can work. I think they're very similar. And I said before in the game they played, I think it was against Burnley, they stifled each other, they got in each other's way. Maybe it's something that can be worked out where Goodmanson and Harrison could end up having a really good relationship down the left wing. But obviously, while Okafor's fit, that's not really going to happen, and you don't want to do that. I have been an advocate for trying to get Harrison on the right wing while we don't have a right winger, because I think he can deliver the ball from them deep areas on his left foot. In swingers, there'll be a nightmare for keepers. You might catch people at back post, might go all the way through and go in. Harrison can deliver a decent ball 5 times out of 10. And ultimately, that is better than anybody else is doing at the moment. Goodmanson is a threat, to be fair, out wide. But again, it's all like to the byline. And I'm up for players getting into the byline, but Harrison gets to the byline and still whips the ball in. It's a whipped ball that my man... Rodrigo, sorry, that's the next topic that my man Calvert Lewin wants to get on end of, isn't it? Rodrigo, I'm going to read this article to you because it's not quite as in-depth as Matt Viduka's. He's just talking about his time at Leeds, basically, and saying, that it's a difficult standard. I think for every player who arrives at the Premier League, this is a quote, their first season is very difficult. It's a very physical and demanding, and the pace of the game is completely different. Now, to be fair to Carragher, I actually heard him talking about foreigners in general coming over to play in the Premier League. And he said this first year thing is a bit of a myth. And I know they can get up to speed a little bit, but this idea that Henry wasn't good in the first year of his Premier League season, I think he got 20 goals or something insane. So most players that are top players hit the ground running, don't they? I understand it's difficult for him, but he also mentioned... he commented on Bielsa. Now, I always knew, to be honest, and I don't know about anybody else, and this is more just a gut feeling, but I don't think he liked Bielsa particularly. He mentioned that it was a very challenging moment in my career, especially for the first season and a half with Bielsa, a very good but very demanding coach. It's like, I thought he was going to fit in a little bit more than he actually was. And then I think some fans have sort of let him get away with it on the basis that they said they put him out wide and not really playing him to his strengths. Or, when he were playing up top, it wasn't really... I don't know. After more than 20 years, he brought me back to the... Bielsa brought them back to the Premier League. It's special playing for him, and I always wish him the best. So he did have a nice thing to say about him. I learned a lot from him in many different ways. He's a legend in Leeds. People there love him, and deservedly so. But it's like people there love him. It's much more like, he's a legend in Leeds and people there love him rather than, which is fair enough. You're not going to appease absolutely everybody, are you? Talking about appeasing absolutely everybody, Anton Stack has said that we need to be winning games while and when we are playing well in order to stay in the league. Very good stuff, Anton Stack. You keep your bitch doing them Instagram stories. Keep it that way, I think. There's always a spot available for you on this channel, man, with that type of analysis, to be fair. I think if we're going to stay in the league, we definitely need to win a few more games. But it's good to it's good to hear it from the horse's mouth, as it were. Jeff Stelling, how about this then? He reckons Steven Gerrard will replace Farke. You'd have to be the most mental Farke outer, the most staunch Farke outer in order to want Steven Gerrard in now, who ultimately I liked to some extent as a manager when he was at Rangers, left for Villa. I actually thought he started well, and then he's admitted himself the job was basically, he lost the dressing room, and he didn't know how to get it back. And Farke is a significantly better manager than Gerrard, and just in achievements. I actually like Gerrard's demeanour. I think he could end up being a decent manager, but I just think it's difficult unless they're going into top sides, really, which is a thing they do in Spain. And Guardiola goes straight to Barcelona, Xavi at Barcelona, Zidane at Real Madrid. They do get the big jobs, and we don't tend to do that. in England. I think the idea is they've got to go back down the tiers of football in it, but that's got nothing to do with me. But yeah, Steven Gerrard, I'd have taken, had it been another year in Championship or something, and somebody had said, "Oh, we're going to go with Gerrard," I'd have got behind it, but not now. Certainly not now. Watched Everton Sunderland last night. I thought a really good game, to be honest. Really quite an open game. It ended up 1-1, which is probably a decent result for us. But I'm one of these. I just want to state and stipulate. I will want whoever I want to win the game. I'm not looking at the league as of yet. I don't think we can be at that stage, to be honest, where we're looking over his shoulder. We need to be looking forward on my man Stacks imagery, winning more games. Need to just be the eggs will land where they do, or whatever. The chickens will hatch wherever they lay their eggs, or whatever the fucking saying is. The lay of the land, the landscape will open up to be a certain way. And whether I want Sunderland or Everton to win last night is absolutely irrelevant. I wanted Everton to win, if I'm honest, on the basis that I want Xhaka to collapse, because I said at the start of the season that because everybody went mental about Xhaka, and I was actually on board with that if we would have got on board with that signing. And then when everybody started saying that, it was the worst decision, I can't believe they've pulled Xhaka, and I thought, steady on. So I actually remember saying I'd text Xhaka when it sort of came up, and everybody abuses it. This is the funny thing, isn't it? About punditry in general, really. It's so like game to game, isn't it? And like Anton Stack, no mention of Longstaff whatsoever when Anton Stack got here. Anton Stack was the man, because nobody really knew much about him, let's have it right. So you can jump on the bandwagon with that. And then when he's not been as good as Longstaff, now it's like, everybody just goes really quiet and mute. Nobody's gone for him as of yet. But if he continues to, what he would do is he'd become a statistic in the, we've paid 15 million for a defender that don't play, and then when he starts playing and Bielsa's been all right, even though we got battered to Brighton, it's then 15 million pound wasted on a player. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't really. People don't want to make their mind up, and it's difficult to make your mind up in football. I appreciate it. People say it's emotional. I don't think it has to be as emotional as everybody makes out, really. Ultimately, it is a game that gets us all away from our normal lives, doesn't it? Hence why I don't want to be watching this shit depressed out my brain, thinking about Brighton spanking us 3-0 all week. Want to get stuck straight into Nottingham Forest, who people are now panicking about. It's like, why are you worried? Don't you worry. There's no need for you to worry. Let them worry about it. Let them get on with game. But that's the shit vid. Nobody do it how he does it. If you don't know by now, you never knew. Keep liking and subscribing. It does help the channel, guys. Biddly biddly bo. Take it easy. In a bit.
Boom.